Alrighty guys, so I've come out to do another live shoot, another live video, and it's raining, everything's soaked, it's absolutely horrible weather. I've still got this cough, it's absolutely killing me, driving me cracker. So I thought I'd do a quick little thing. I've been thinking heaps about this new Evolve bow and the draw cycle. So let's just talk a little bit about the draw cycle, and then let me know what you think in the comments below. So before we get into the Evolve, let's talk about a recurve draw cycle, okay, which is pretty simple. It's an easy one to work out. It's easiest at the start. The further you get back, the harder it gets. So the draw cycle is easy, harder, 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 harder. So that's what makes a recurve, because the limbs and everything. So then you go to compound, and it's meant to be totally opposite. So it's meant to be hard. Then further you get back, you sink in that villa, and it's easiest at the back. So that's the difference between a compound and a recurve, is that one's easy at the start, one's easy at the end. So that's what was getting me thinking about the Hoyt. Well, let's go through the Hoyt's draw cycle. So it was easy, 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 harder, 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 hardest, drop into the valley, easy. So that was the draw cycle, hardest, hardest, hardest here, drop into the valley. So what got me thinking, well, that sounds like a recurve draw cycle with a valley, doesn't it? So the recurve's harder, 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 hardest. Hoyt's harder, 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 hardest, valley. Okay, so that's what got me thinking, well, maybe the Hoyt and all these old cams are really like gone the wrong way. They're like a recurve with a valley. They're not actually like shooting like a compound. So that's what I was really thinking about. What got me thinking about it was the Evolve cam system. Now let me explain the Evolve cam system. Hardest, 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 easier, 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 easiest, easiest, easiest. Just soon as you start drawing back, like Dad said, this far into the draw cycle is the hardest bit. So as soon as you get an inch into your draw cycle, it starts dropping off and getting easier, 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 easier. Now let me explain why a compound is has more velocity and is more hectic than a recurve. Because, okay, so when being at the hardest point in the draw cycle here with the recurve, when you let it go, the arrow's under the most amount of tension at the back of the draw, and the closer it gets to the riser, the less amount of pressure the string's putting on the bow. So the most amount of pressure on the bow, on the arrow, is at full draw, and then the closer it gets to the bow, the less thing. So the maximum speed it has is at the back. As soon as you let go, that's when it's going to have its maximum speed, because it's getting the most velocity out of the bow. So the closer it's getting to the bow, it's already dropping speed, and the further it gets to the target, the further it drops speed as well. And it just makes sense. The longer the arrow flies, the slower it gets. So with the compound, what made it so volatile, so much more power, was that when you let go, the arrow gained speed as it got to the riser, because it was easiest here. Then the further it gets closer to the riser, the harder the string's pushing on it, meaning the string's building velocity as it leaves the bow. Whereas with a recurve, it's losing velocity as it gains the bow, as it leaves the bow. Now with the Hoyt, that's what a Hoyt does. So it starts here, gets its maximum velocity, then it loses velocity as it's leaving the bow. Now we get back to the new Evolve cam system. What's happening? We're at the back, easiest, least amount of pressure. Then the closer it gets to the riser, the more power it gets. So the most amount of power that's going to get behind that arrow is exactly when it leaves the bow. So which means that it gets time to stabilize before it even leaves the bow. I don't know, that's just what I've been thinking, because I've been loving this new bow and I've been looking at it all night going, oh, I want to shoot it in the morning. I wake up, it's raining. So I thought I'd do this little one. Let me know what you think about that. So I think it's going to be heaps more accurate just for that reason, that when you let go, it's still building velocity, so it's still got time to level itself out. And I'm not talking with the feathers, and I'm not talking with full, you know, leveling itself out. I'm talking with the first initial bend. So when you first shoot an arrow, it has the biggest bend first. Well, that happens with the Hoyt anyway, because as soon as you come out of that valley, you're at the hardest bit. So it's boom, and then calms down as it's traveling and coming out of the bow. It starts to calm down because it's getting less pressure on it. Now with the Hoyt, with the Evolve, it's like a little bend and then takes off. And by doing that, lets the arrow kind of get itself started. I don't know, I'm just thinking here, people, and I thought I'd throw it out to you and give you a quick little video in the rain. But let me know what you think about that. The PSE Evolve cam system has to be better. Just for the fact that the hardest bit of the cam cycle, draw cycle, is in the first inch. So that means the most amount of velocity is happening as the arrow's leaving the bow. I don't know, that's what I'm absolutely loving about this bow at the moment. The draw cycle just feels so good. So let me know what you think about that type of draw cycle, and you think I'm onto something, or you think I'm full crackers, because you know me, we've got rocks for brains, but they're over 7 on the Mohs scale. Alright, so let me know what you think about that. Yeah, so that's what I just wanted to tell you about. I was just thinking about it, going, oh, I got to tell you about it. I got to get yours opinion to see what you think about that one. Because I reckon that's why, it's getting so much more speed than the other bows, and it's still a target bow because it's got the right draw cycle. Every other bow, the Mathews, same thing, easiest, harder, hardest, valley. Just drops into the valley. All the bows I've shot have been just dropping into the valley, whereas this one, it's hard, easier. It's like just the first inch is the hardest bit. Then it just drops off so nice. There's no like valley, it just gets easier and easier, and then all of a sudden it's the easiest. It's insane. So I think that's going to make so much more power flicking it out the bow, having the right draw cycle. So what I'm trying to say is the new Evolve cam system's really what a compound's meant to be. It's not meant to be slow at the end. It's meant to be fast at the end and slow at the start, and that's what it is. So I think that's exactly why it's so much shoots so nice. And I was shooting 10 size groups before I even tuned it or anything like that. Oh, I've got to be stoked with it. And I had to put the PSE shirt back on just to do the video. I'll have to throw it in the wash after this video though. Alright guys, so hit the like button. Tell me what you think about this new cam cycle and this new theory I got with this cam cycle, making it heaps more bigger. Bring in compound back into compound. Maybe. That's my theory anyway. Does it make sense? Does it make sense or not? Let me know. Because to me it makes perfect sense. You want the most amount of power just as it leaves the bow, which makes a compound. You don't want a recurve with a valley, because that's what a Hoyt is. A recurve with a valley. Insane. Okay guys, hit the like button for me, hit the subscribe button, hit all the buttons. Just a short one, but I'll give you something. Seeing it's raining, I'm standing out here in the rain. I was going to shoot in the rain, but I don't want to get the bow wet just yet. Alright guys, hit the like button, hit everything. See you in the next one. See you tomorrow, hopefully, or I might even be out the Savo for a live if the rain stops. Fingers crossed I can start tuning. See you soon.